Good evening, friends. It's Chris Angel coming at you for another episode of Marketing for the Rest of Us. And tonight we're talking about why I have two shows. And actually I have 4 podcasts. 2 of them are real estate related podcasts because that was my background when I launched my business coaching business in 2011. I had started Real Estate License Roadmap. And then I added another one several years later called Leads You Love. So I had I have 2 podcasts, and I keep paying for the hosting of those podcasts because I believe they're delivering value. Those still get significant downloads every month, even though I haven't produced a new episode in quite a while, like a couple years. But they keep providing value, so I just keep paying for paying for those to stay hosted so people can keep benefiting from that content. But I do have 2 shows that I actively produce episodes for. One is this show, Marketing for the Rest of Us, which is a daily show. And the other is called Important Work, which is a weekly interview show. Both are done through video, and then I repurpose them as podcasts. So if you're listening to this, actually, right, you sometimes will hear me say something about Facebook Live, until we go live tomorrow, join us for the episode, whatever you'll hear me say. Right, this is a Facebook Live. So, and then the Important Work is not live. It is a recorded interview through Zoom that I do as an interview with people. So here's why. Let me give you both of these. The first thing I'll say about Important Work, my show Important Work, is that I have a part of the mission of my company is to help people find and then expand their important work in the world. That is the groundswell, right? My company's called Groundswell. The groundswell in the world that I'm creating is helping people find and step into and expand their own important work. So I wanted to build a show around that conversation. And as I started getting into that show more and more, what I really wanted to do with it was go network with other people who have important work. Now, this is funny, right? Because a couple days ago, I did an episode called Networking versus Marketing. And I actually went on to talk about how I don't really enjoy networking most of the time because if you're thinking of a networking meeting, you go and you pass out your card and people talk your ear off and they don't really ask you any questions. But to have a show where I get to interview other people who have important work in the world is a very strategic way for me to network, right? I can hear about people or discover people that I feel like have work I want to put on loudspeaker for the world, and I can go approach them about being on my show. It's an easy ask, and most people say yes, which is great, right? And it's a great way to just start a relationship with somebody. So I love having an interview style show to network. Okay. Super important. I think it's really important if you want to find your way into relationship with other people that are moving and shaking in the world. It's efficient because you don't have to drive to coffee, then sit there for an hour to hour and a half, and then drive back from coffee, let alone most movers and shakers won't give you time for coffee. And most movers and shakers aren't local to you, right? So having an interview style show that is also repurposed as a podcast is a great strategic, time efficient way to network in this day and age. Okay. And the format of the Important Work show is me basically interviewing others about what they have to say. It's me giving them space to say their message to the world. That is not what this show is, right? This show, Marketing for the Rest of Us, is me speaking directly to you. This is my chance to share what life is teaching me in such a way that I hope it inspires and helps you in your path in marketing and business, right? Or said another way, on your path to finding your purpose, on your path to finding the message you want to lead in the world. So one show, Important Work, gives me a chance to network efficiently with people that I choose. I say, that's somebody I want to get to know. I invite them on my show. And in the meantime, it creates good content for the world, right? And it encourages my audience to, through the stories of others, to find their own important work. This show I have because it allows me to not only get my own repetitions in articulating my message and articulating life's lessons that I get, but it's my way to directly contribute or say what I want to say to you, in hopes that those of you who resonate with what it is that I have to say and how I see marketing can feel connected to me, right? We're no longer in the information age. If you guys have gone through my free course, Marketing for the Rest of Us, the course, you know that in that course I talk about that we are no longer in the information age. We are in the tribal economy. We are no longer in the information age. So if you are sitting here, you're not watching this show because you just need to kill some time. You're watching this show because either you want to know more about marketing or you've heard previous episodes I've done. And you're like, I'm curious what Chris has to say today. And so this is my chance to connect with you, right? This show. So I have 2 shows. That's why. One is for my purposes to network and encourage other people, my audience's important work in the world, through these guests that I have on the show. And this show is designed for me to actually share with you life's lessons, practice iterating my own life lessons, and contribute to you in some way that you feel moved forward in your own marketing, right? So that is why I have 2 shows. Now, last question that could come up here is, well, does that mean that you need 2 shows? No, not necessarily. You don't need 2 shows. In fact, if I could have done it some other way, maybe I would have. I didn't feel like the name of both shows could have been merged into one. Having 2 shows gives me more to manage. They're more to manage, right? I have 2 different hosting accounts. I have different workflows for each show. So there's more to manage. If I had to do it over again, what I would tell you to do is find a way to have an interview format in your show, as well as sort of I don't want to call these memoirs, but like a teaching component, right? Like you get to share with us what you're learning component. So one style under one show could be interviewing, and then inside the same show, you could actually just share with us what you're learning. And you could do both. Now, if you're going to do that, I think you should think about what kind of frequency you want to have. I think teaching us once a week as well as interviewing somebody once a week is probably a good frequency. So that's 2 episodes a week if you decide to do it as one show. Okay. Even if you did it as 2 shows, I still think the minimum you should be doing if you're going to have a show or a podcast is once a week per podcast. So, or per format. Okay. All right, gang, I just wanted to share with you why I do that, why I have that. And my hope is that it inspires you to think about how to connect with us differently, right? One strategy is to go network yourself with influencers and people that you want to get to know by inviting them on your show and interviewing them where they talk most of the time. And the other format is where you actually get to share with us what life has been teaching you, which helps you in iterating your life's lessons, but it inspires us because we get to find ourselves in your story. So those are the 2 ways that I recommend you do a show. I think you should do it both ways because both have their own value. If you want to learn more about how to lead your own conversation, right, to teach us what you're learning, there's some skills attached to that. And I have a free course that kind of sets you off on that path. It's called Marketing for the Rest of Us, the course. And you can start that course tonight at groundswellmethod.com. Go ahead and start that tonight, and you'll be done within 99 minutes. All right. Thanks for hanging out with me here today, and I'll see you tomorrow for another episode of Marketing for the Rest of Us.